Good afternoon, everyone. Last class we were doing sums on IRR. I hope I'm clearly audible. Okay, so we were doing problems on internal rate of return, and we had come to the annuity problems. So under annuity problems, they have said first sum I had started. I'm repeating it again. Find the internal rate of return for the following project: initial investment 50,000, annual cash flow 12,500, and life of the project 5 years. So what we will do first is when they give annuity, there's a simple way to find those two rates, the higher rate and the lower rate. What we can do is we can do initial investment divided by annual cash flows. So initial investment is 50,000 divided by the annual cash flows is 12,500. We get the answer as 4. Now this 4 we have to search in the present value interest factor annuity table. So we go to the annuity table and we search where are we getting this 4 for a 5-year period. So I'll just take you to that table. This is the annuity table. So in this we have checked as to how we will get that value. Okay, just a minute. So as I had told you, we have to check for 5 years. So fifth year is here. I have to check the annuity table. So this is an annuity table. You can see the annuity formula is given here above. So for 5 years, I have to check where I'll get 4. So if I continuously go on seeing, this is the 5 year. Okay. This is 4.853, 4.731, 4.580, 4.452, and so on. I get here 4.100. This 4.100 is at 7%. And 3.993 is at 8%. 4 lies in between these two. That is in between 4.1 and 3.99. There is the value 4 exactly that we want. So these are the two rates. That is 7% where the value is 4.100 and 8% where the value is 3.993. So we go to this and here I have written, if you see, the two rates will be 7%. The table value is 4.100 and 8% for which the table value is 3.993. Now using these two rates, we will have to find the present value of cash flows and NPV and then find the internal rate of return. So how do we find the present value of cash flow for an annuity? So if I have to find present value of cash flow, I will do annual cash flow into present value interest factor annuity at first I will take the 7% rate because these are the two rates for 5 years. So 7% for 5 years rate we have to take and we have to calculate the annuity. So present value cash flow is equals to annual cash flow they have given is 12,500 into the rate 7% for 5 years. I have already taken here 7% table value for 5 years. This is 4.100 is the rate. So 12,500 into 4.100 if we do, we'll get the present value cash flow at 7%. So just see 12,500 into 4.100, you get 51,250. Now we can find the NPV at 7%. 51,250 minus the initial investment, which is given here as 50,000 rupees. So minus 50,000, you will get 1,250 as NPV for 7% rate. So here I will write, we are doing it for 7%. Now the next rate is 8%. Let's find the NPV for 8% rate. So present value cash flow, I'm doing it for 8%. One is the lower rate and the other is the higher rate. How to find the rate? I have already shown you looking at the tables. So 12,500 into at 8%, the rate that we have got is 3.993. So 12,500 into 3.993, we get present value cash flow is equal to 12,500 into 3.993, 49, sorry, just a minute, 12,500, 49,912, or we'll make it 913, round it off, minus 50,000 is the initial investment. Okay, this is just the present value cash flow. I'll do NPV on the next thing. NPV is equals to 49,913 minus 50,000, which is equal to minus 87. So we got a positive NPV, we got a negative NPV. So these are the two rates, 7 and 8%. Now we can use the formula of IRR and solve for it. So this is the formula for IRR. Okay. So IRR is equals to lower rate, which is 7%, plus present value at lower rate. Present value at lower rate is 51,250. So 51,250 minus initial investment 50,000 divided by present value at lower rate, that is 51,250 minus present value at higher rate, which is 49,913. This entire thing we have to multiply it with the difference of rate. So into difference of rate is 1%, 8 minus 7. The difference you get is 1, or you can also write here 8 minus 7. Just a second. Which you'll get it as 1. So IRR is equals to 7 plus 1,250 divided by 51,250 minus 49,913. We get 1,337. So we need to divide this and then multiply it with 1. So 1,250 divided by 1,337. You get 0.93 into 1 is again 0.93. So IRR is equals to 7 plus 0.9349. So IRR will be 7.9349%. So as I had told you, the IRR is in between 7 and 8%. So nor it is 7 nor it is 8, it is 7.93%, at which your NPV will be equal to 0. Okay, so this was one sum. Now let's do one more sum of the same kind. So all those who have joined late, now you can just concentrate on this sum. Okay, I'm doing IRR. In the last class also we were doing the same, but now we're doing it on annuity basis. Okay, so here there are 4 projects A, B, C, and D. For all the 4 projects, we have to separately find IRR. That means we will have 4 IRR answers now with us. And for that, because it is annuity, we'll use that method to find the rates in a shortcut way, and easily we'll be able to do it faster. So let's start. First, we'll do it for project A. If you look at the project A, just check what is its annual cash flow and initial investment. So here I'll write for project A first. So for project A, we're doing initial investment divided by annual cash flow So initial investment for project A is 8 lakhs divided by annual cash flow is 2 lakhs. So 8 lakh divided by 2 lakh, you get a value 4. Now we have to find this 4, and the life of project is 5 years. So for 5 years, we have to find the value 4 in the table. Let's go to the table. This is the annuity table because we're seeing the present value interest factor annuity. I hope the table is clearly visible to all of you. Okay. Now we want the rate 4, the value 4 for 5 years period. We have the period given. So for 5 years is here. For 5 years, I'll go on searching where I'll get 4. So here it's 4.853, 4.731, so on and so forth. If I go, you can check here at 7 and 8%. At 7%, we are getting 4.100, and at 8%, we are getting 3.993. So these are the two rates, 7 and 8. In between 7 and 8 is our IRR, because the IRR value should be exactly 4, the table value. There is no 4 value here, so it's in between these two roundabout values. So we'll write it here. If anybody has any doubts, please ask. Okay, it's similar, so I'm writing it. Yes, any doubts, anybody? The two rates will be 7% table value 4.100 and 8% table value 3.993. So now first we'll find present value of cash flows at 7%, which is equal to your annual cash flow, which is given as 2 lakh rupees, into 7% rate 4.100. So if you do 2 lakh into 4.100, you will get the present value of cash flows, which is equal to, just check, 2 lakh into 4.100, you get 8,20,000 present value of cash flows. Now we can find the NPV. NPV is equals to present value of cash flows 8,20,000 minus initial investment 8 lakh. So NPV is 20,000 at 7% rate. Similarly, we'll do present value cash flows at 8% rate, which is equal to 2 lakh is the annual cash flow into, at 8% the table value is 3.993. So present value of cash flow will be equal to 7,98,600. Then if we find NPV, it will be equal to 7,98,600 minus 8 lakh. So we get a negative NPV here of minus 1,400. So we have two rates. One is giving us positive NPV and the other is giving us negative NPV. These are the higher and the lower rates. Using this, we can find the IRR. So this is the formula for IRR. Okay. So let's solve it here below. IRR is equals to lower rate, which is 7%, plus present value at lower rate. So present value at 7% was 8,20,000 minus initial investment, which is given as 8 lakh. Okay. Then this has to be divided by present value of lower rate, which is 8,20,000 minus present value at higher rate, that is 7,98,600, into difference of rates. So that is again 8 minus 7. The difference is only 1. So when we solve for it, we get an IRR of 7.93 again. 7.93%. So this was for project A. Similarly, let's do it for project B. So project B, look what all is given here. Investment is 10 lakh and the annual cash flow is 2 lakh 80. Life of the project is 4. So first what we do initial investment divided by, so project B, initial investment divided by annual cash flow. Initial investment is 10 lakh for project B divided by the annual cash flows of project B are 2 lakh 80,000. So when you divide this, you will get the value 3.57 is what you get. We have to check this 3.57 in the table. Okay, and the life also we have to check. Life of the project for project B is 4 years. So as I have told you, we have to look at the table for the years. So 4 years, I'll look at 4 years. This is the table value. This is the year 4, and the table value that I have to see is 3.57. So at 1% it is 3.902, 3.808, 3.717, 630, 3.546. I want 3.57. So 3.546 is closer and 3.630. These two rates are the rates, that is 4 and 5% are the higher and the lower rates, in between which we will get our 3.57. Okay. So here we write from the annuity table, find value 3.57 for 4 years. You will get the value in between 4 and 5%. So 4%, what is the value that we had got? 4%, the value was 3.630, and 5%, which is your higher rate now, the value was 3.546. So using these two values and these two rates, now we have to find the NPV. One, we should get positive NPV. The other, we should get a negative NPV. And using those NPVs, we can find the IRR very easily. So let's do first present value cash flows for 4%, which is equal to 2,80,000. That is your annual cash flows into the table value, that is present value interest factor at 4%. We have got the table value as 3.630. So if we solve for this, we will get the value 10,16,400. Now we can find the NPV. So NPV is equals to 10,16,400 minus the initial investment, which is 10 lakh. So you get an NPV of 16,400, which is positive at 4%. Now we'll find present value cash flows at 5%. We've already written down the annuity rate, so we'll do annual cash flow 2,80,000 into at 5%. Just see the rate is 3.546. So into 3.546, when you multiply, you get a present value cash flow of 9,92,880. Now we can find the NPV. NPV is equals to present value of cash flows 9,92,880 minus initial investment 10 lakh. So you get an NPV of minus 7,120. Okay, now we have a positive NPV that is 16,400 at 4% and a negative NPV minus 7,120 at 5%. Using these two rates, 4 and 5%, we can find the IRR. This is the formula for IRR. So IRR is equals to lower rate, that is 4% plus present value at lower rate. So at lower rate, we had a present value of 10,16,400 minus initial investment is 10 lakh. This entire thing has to be divided by present value at lower rate 10,16,400 minus present value at higher rate was 9,92,880. If we divide these two and then we multiply it with the difference of rate, the difference of rate is 5 minus 4, which is equal to 1. So IRR will be equal to 4 plus, we need to solve this first. So 16,400 divided by 10,16,400 minus 9,92,880 880, we get 23,520. We need to divide this 2 and multiply it with 1. So IRR will be equal to 4 plus 16,400 divided by 23,520 is 0.697. So the answer is 4.697. So we have done it for project B as well. There are totally 4 projects, A, B, C and D. I have done it for A and B. Can you do it for C and D as homework? Please try for C and D and send me the answers so that I can go through and see whether you've got it or no. All this is important for your IA as well because this is there as a part of syllabus for your internal exams. So you need to be carefully listening and understanding it. Okay, so C and D you can try. If you have doubts, you can ask me, I'll clarify. Now let's go to one more problem. Now this is not an annuity problem, it's a normal problem where we say calculate IRR for the following project. Initial investment is rupees 2 lakh. Return down value method of depreciation is to be adopted. The rate of depreciation is 20% and the tax rate is 50%. So what we have to do first is we have to see whether they have given us cash flow or they've given us cash flow before depreciation and tax, because in the question they've mentioned the method of depreciation, the rate of depreciation and the tax rate, all the three. So that basically means we have to use all the three and solve for the value. So we'll first see as to what is given, present value of cash flows or present value of cash flows before depreciation and tax. So if you observe here, they have given us the cash flows before depreciation and tax. So first we have to find the cash flows after depreciation and tax. So for that we need to do a working note on depreciation. Similar kind of sum I had done for NPV, wherein how we found out the present value of cash flows we had solved. But here the difference is there we had used the straight line method of depreciation. Here they are asking us to use the return down value method of depreciation and the rate given is 20%. What is return down value method of depreciation? It is nothing but finding the depreciation on the balance amount. Straight line method finds depreciation on the same amount every year, but return down value method says we need to find it on the balance amount. So now let us check as to what would be the depreciation amount. Let's do it on an Excel sheet so it becomes easy for us to solve. So I'll just show it on an Excel sheet. First we'll do working note on depreciation. Okay, so the working note on depreciation involves year, value, or you can say cost also. Okay. Then we need the depreciation that we calculate depreciation at 20%, and then we'll get the remaining value. After minusing the depreciation, we will get the return down value or the balance. Also call it as balance of the asset. Okay, now let's see how we are going to do it. Now let's go to the question again. They've given us 5 years data. So here we have from 1 to 5. Cost they have told us is the initial investment, which is 2 lakh rupees. So we are investing 2 lakh rupees. So here value 2 lakh, okay, which is the cost of the asset or the initial investment. Now on this 2 lakh rupees, we have to calculate 20% depreciation. So I'll just increase the font. I don't know if it's visible. Okay, on this 2 lakh, we have to find 20% depreciation, and the rate of depreciation given is 20%. So 2 lakh into 20% you do, you will get the depreciation amount, which is 40,000 rupees. Now this 40,000 rupees from 2 lakh, if I minus 40,000, I'll get the return down value. So from 2 lakh, I have to minus 40,000 to get the return down value, which is 1,60,000. This 1,60,000 will be the new value for second year. That is what the return down value sums we did in the first semester also. On the remaining value of the asset, we calculate the depreciation in the next year. So first year, the value of the asset was 2 lakh, 40,000 was depreciation. So the remaining value is 1,60,000. We bring down that 1,60,000. In first semester, I taught you the account form. Here we're doing it in the form of a working note. So there we used to write carried down, brought down. So this is what is carried down and this is brought down. I've brought down 1,60,000. Now on this again, I'll calculate 20% depreciation. So just a second. I've put here commas. 32,000 will be the depreciation. Now from 1,60,000 we have to minus 32,000 to get the value, which comes to 1,28,000. This 1,28,000 will be the opening balance for the third year. On this opening balance, we calculate again 20% depreciation. You can see here on 1,28,000 into 0.2 I have done, which is 20% depreciation, which you get as 25,600, and the balance will be 1,28,000 minus 25,600, that is cost minus depreciation. You will get the balance, which is 1,02,400. This 1,02,400 we bring it down the next year, that is in the fourth year. Now fourth year again on this 1,02,400 we have to calculate 20%, which comes to 20,480, and to find the balance we have to do the cost minus the depreciation. So 1,02,400 minus 20,480, we get 81,920. This 81,920 is again the opening balance. Similarly, 81,920 into 20%, we get a depreciation of 16,384, and the balance is the cost minus the depreciation, that is 65,536. We don't want it beyond 5 years. We wanted depreciation only for 5 years, which we have got from 1 to 5. For all the 5 years, we have the depreciation now. So using these depreciation values from the working note, now we can find the present value of cash flows. That means we can find the cash flows. I'll just take the format from above because I've done it earlier. It's not in this sheet. Fine. I'll just take it from the Word document. Just give me a minute. So this is a format to find the present value of cash flows. Okay, first to find the cash flows and then to find the present value of cash flows. So here we have 5 years. Okay, and in the question we have the cash flows for 5 years. So let's go to the question and get the cash flows before depreciation and tax, which is 40,000, 32,000, 25,600, and so on. So let's just take those cash flows here. Just a second. Okay, so these are the cash flows that are given. Now, from this cash flow before depreciation and tax, we need to minus the depreciation so that we get cash flow before tax. Now, this D and T should go out. That is depreciation and tax. We want only cash flow. So, first we will minus depreciation, which we have calculated as a working note here. If you see, these are the values of depreciation that we have calculated. So, I'll write it down through our working note. Sorry. Just a second, we put paste special. These are the depreciation values that we have got. Okay, now with this depreciation, we can find the cash flows before tax. That is, you have to do 40,000 minus 40,000. You will get the cash flow as 0. So same way, we have to calculate the cash flows for every year. Just a second. Return the just a second. I've written it wrongly. The cash flows are not those. See, I've written the depreciation. I'll just write down the cash flows. 80,000, 80,000, 90,000. I'll change it in the question as well. 90,000 and 83,000. These are the cash flows. So now we have to do cash flow before depreciation and tax minus depreciation. So 80,000 minus 40,000, you'll get 40,000. Similarly, we'll do it for all the years. So you will get it as, see here, column number 2 minus 3 I'm doing. This is column number 3, depreciation. So 2 minus 3, 80 minus 40, you get 40. 80 minus 32, 48. 90 minus 25,600, you get 64,000. Increase the font. Okay, 90 minus 20,480, you get 69,520. And similarly, you have cash flow for all the 5 years. Now the tax rate, we have to check what is the tax rate given in the question. So let's go to the question. Tax rate is 50%. So we will have to calculate the tax on this, that is on the cash flow before tax. So on 40,000, I have to calculate 50% of it. 40,000 into 0.5. 50% of 40,000 is 20,000. Similarly, 50% of 48,000 is 24,000. 50% of 64,400 is 32,200, and so on for all the years. I have got the taxes. Now I have to find cash flow after tax, for which I will do cash flow before tax 40,000 minus tax 20,000. So 40 minus 20, you get 20. Similarly, 48 minus 24, you get 24. Okay. 64,600 minus 32,200, you get 32,200. So this is how you will have to minus and find the values for all the 5 years. Now what we do is we again write the depreciation that was given to us, that we calculated. Why we are writing the depreciation again? Because depreciation has to be added back to the cash flow after tax to get the cash flows. Why are we adding it back? Because depreciation is a non-cash expense. That means we don't pay the money to anybody. So it cannot go out of the cash flow. Cash is not going out of the business. Then why we minused it in the initial stage? We minused it because if we wouldn't have minused it, we would have paid taxes on this 80,000. 80,000, 50% would be 40,000. So we would have paid a higher tax. So to save tax, we first minus the depreciation expense, and we showed that our profit is less. On that profit, we calculated tax. Now that we have saved tax, we have to add back that depreciation to get the actual cash flows. So we need to add cash flow after tax 20,000 plus depreciation 40,000. We get it as 60,000. Similarly, 24 plus 32, we get 56. 32,200 plus 25,600, we get 57,800. Same is done for the 5 years. So till here, we have determined our cash flows. Now we have to find IRR. So to find IRR, we always take, or we always assume a particular rate. So we are assuming, so as to see present value interest factor. And as I had told you, we usually start with 10%. Okay, so at 10%, we will find the present value interest factor. So to see that, we'll go to the table values. And we see the normal table, not the annuity table. We're seeing the normal table now because this is not annual cash flow, but it is a normal cash flow. This is the normal table. Okay, and at 10%, I want to see the present value factors. So at 10%, so the first year it is 0.909. Okay, for the second year, 0.826, 0.751. Above we have it 0.683 and 0.621. These are the present value factors, interest factors. Now we can multiply the cash flow with the present value interest factor to get the present value of cash flows. So 60,000 into 0.909, we get 54,540. Similarly, 56,000 into 0.826, we get 46,256. And same way we have to do it for others. And these are the answers that we get. If you get it in decimals, just round it off because we have to still do many steps. And if you take decimals, adding them and getting a total will be all confusing. So now we'll add all these present value of cash flows to get the total present value of cash flows, which is 2,12,791. So we can find NPV now. So NPV I'm finding at 10% rate, okay, which is equal to 2,12,791 present value of cash flows minus the initial investment of 2 lakh rupees given in the problem. So you will get a NPV of 12,791. So this is the first NPV. And if you see, this NPV is positive. So when the NPV is positive, the next rate should be higher than 10%, 10 plus. If the NPV was negative, the next rate would have been lesser than 10%. So the next rate that we should consider, 15% we'll consider and see. So after 10, tried it with 15. Let's check present value interest factor at 15%. And then we have the present value of cash flows. Okay, so we'll see the factor values in the table. At 15%, let's go down. It's here. See here, for first year it is 0.870, then 0.756, 0.658. I'll just take those values. 0.870, 0.756, 0.658, 0.572, and 0.497. These are the present value interest factors. Now we have to multiply cash flows. Remember, cash flows has to be multiplied with the present value interest factor, not this present value cash flow, because I am finding it at 15%. What will be my present value? So what I have highlighted, 60,000 should be multiplied with 0.870. Okay, so we will write here 60,000 into 0.870, we get 52,500. Similarly, 56,000 into 0.870, we get 42,336. And in the same way, we do it for the rest. Again, we have to total it to get the present value, total present value of cash flows. So we get as 1,88,863. Now we can find NPV at 15%, which is equal to 1,88,863 minus 2 lakh, okay, which is equal to minus 11,137. So we have a negative NPV here at 15%, and at 10% we had a positive NPV. So two NPVs we got, one is positive, one is negative, and the two rates are 10 and 15%. Using this we can find IRR. So let's go to our Word document and calculate the values of IRR. So here we find the IRR. We'll just copy the IRR formula. IRR is equals to lower rate. Here our lower rate is 10%. So 10 plus present value at lower rate, that is 2,12,791 minus the initial investment, which is 2 lakh, divided by present value at lower rate, 2,12,791 minus present value at higher rate, 1,88,863. And all this we have to multiply with the difference of rate. So 15 minus 10, the difference of rate is 5%. So IRR will be equal to 10 plus. So we get 12,791 divided by, we'll just check this, 2,12,791 minus 1,88,863. We get 23,928 into the difference of rate is 5. So IRR will be equal to 12,791 divided by 23,928. If I do, I get 0.5345 recurring into 5. If I do, I get 2.67. So IRR will be equal to 10 plus 2.672. So IRR is equal to 12.672%. So in between 10 and 15% it lies, I had told you. So the answer is 12.672%. So this is how the IRR sums have to be done. Even if they don't give the cash flows directly, you need to find the cash flows and do it, which we did it here in the Excel sheet. If you see, we have found the cash flows and we have found the present value. So these were the cash flows before depreciation and tax. Okay. Now let's wind up with IRR for today's class. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, or else we'll wind up with IRR for today and we'll begin in my next class the next method, that is profitability index. For the exams, you have NPV, you have IRR, and you have profitability index as well. So all the three methods will be there for your exam. From my side, the portion is this. Okay, I'll paste it in the group also. Anybody having any doubts, please ask. Otherwise, you can type your numbers and leave the meeting.